Welcome, guys, to the Gridiron Gurus presented by Famisphere. My name's Keith. I'm joined by Jesse. And here in a moment, we're going to be joined by Coach Jamey Chadwell of Coastal Carolina University. We're very excited, very amped for this opportunity to have a chance to speak with him. I know Jesse's got a few things that he wants to mention before we get him in on this Zoom call.
I can't put into words the amount of excitement for this interview.
Absolutely.
Talk about amped up to another level. Jamey Chadwell has really came on the scene in the last couple of years, and then last year had a phenomenal year. An East Tennessee guy, which is really cool for us, having that, somewhat of a hometown connection in a sense. So super excited. Coastal Carolina finished 11-1. They went 11-0 in the regular season. Had the one loss to a very good Liberty team in the bowl game,
Yes.
which was one of the most exciting games of the season.
It was. It's not as exciting as the BYU game,
No.
just on how the game came about, and hopefully we can get a chance to talk with Jamey about that.
Yeah.
But 11-1 with a one loss
Oh, yeah.
to a Liberty team, which was a really good game to watch
You
as well.
talk about, though, if you want to mention, a list of 3 to 5 of the most exciting games from 2020, he's got 2 of them.
Absolutely. To me, the BYU game is second to none. It was such a great game.
Yeah.
Came down, if I'm not mistaken, came down right to the last play.
Yep.
So hopefully we get a chance to hear his perspective on that game. Anyways,
So Coach Chadwell is 79-52, late in 2020 they won the Sun Belt. Finished, I think, 14th. They did, and listen to this, Keith. In one season, he won AP College Coach of the Year, Walter Camp Coach of the Year, Home Depot Coach of the Year, Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year, the George Munger Award, and Sun Belt Coach of the Year.
that's ridiculous.
You want to hear some of these names that Coach Chadwell is on this list with? Some of the people that have won these awards. The AP Coach of the Year, you got guys like Bill Snyder, Frank Beamer, Bob Stoops, Nick Saban, Tommy Tuberville, Joe Paterno, just to name a few.
Wow. And those are all Power 5?
They're
coaches?
all Power 5. And looking at this list, it looks to be that his name is the only Group of 5 coach from 98 to 2020 on the list.
That's an amazing accomplishment on his part.
Absolutely. Huge credit to what he was able to do. It's just awesome to watch. His offense is very fun to watch.
Yeah,
Very
I've got
exciting.
a question for him that I want to see where his
Yeah.
offense kind of came from and all that. Hopefully he can get into that as well.
But I'm excited just to get started with it and jump into it.
Yep, me too. So, guys, here in a few minutes, we're going to get him online and enjoy, because I know that we're going to. We're going to have a good time.
Buckle up.
Welcome, guys, to the Gridiron Gurus. My name's Keith. This is Jesse, and we're very welcome to bring on head coach Jamey Chadwell from Coastal Carolina. Welcome, Coach.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. How y'all doing today?
Doing wonderful.
Doing great.
Doing wonderful, brother. Doing wonderful. Really excited to have you on. You're obviously a young coach that's made a big splash this past season at Coastal Carolina. Really some cool things that we want to ask you. Really excited to see kind of what you say about it. So I'll let Jesse go ahead and he's got a couple questions, and I do too.
Yeah, Coach, being in East Tennessee, and we're first of all, it's super cool following your story and your journey from where you came to where you are now. So super glad to have you on. Thank you once again for coming on. My first thing, enjoyed watching you guys play. Enjoyed watching Coastal Carolina football. Can you please tell us what a Chanticleer is? That's the first question I want to know.
So, it comes from Geoffrey Chaucer. And so if you're like me, you probably didn't pay attention in English class in high school.
No, sir.
From the Canterbury Tales. And so we are a fierce barnyard animal that rules the roost. So is how we were described in the Canterbury Tales there. And so we're cunning. Chanticleer's cunning, and as I said, we rule the barnyard. So we're a version of the Gamecock, obviously, because we used to be with the University of South Carolina, and that's where.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Sort of came from. We left them, but I think that was where it sort of started.
Well, so my next question, which you might have just hit on, was if you could use one word to describe Coastal Carolina football, what would it be and why? Like I know how I would describe it, but one word, how would you describe it?
I would say brotherhood. I think
Sure.
if you watched us play this year, we might not have the biggest or the fastest or the strongest, but we played together, and they played like there was a family, and that's what separated. I think this year is we were together and everybody bought into what we were doing, and they were truly like a brotherhood, a family there, and that was the funnest thing for me to be a part of, is just see them come together as a group of young people for a common purpose.
Absolutely.
That's a good answer.
That's great. I totally agree with that.
That's a good answer.
I really enjoyed y'all's energy that you played with. But kind of playing off of that, 2019, you guys finished 5-7, but you were really close. You were right there on the cusp of a bowl berth. You guys had 4 losses with, they were decided by 7 or less. Going into 2020, a lot of people had you guys picked to, I think, finish 5th in the division. Is that right?
Last.
So, how much of what was the team's perception of that preseason prediction? I don't know if you guys really played too much into that anyway. But how big of a chip on the shoulder did it leave your players just to prove the doubters wrong that Coastal Carolina is the real deal?
We don't look a lot into the preseason. You can obviously use it, how you want to motivate as a coach, but I really didn't put more into that. Really, what we focused on a lot, to be honest with you, was you mentioned that 5-7 year. 5 of those losses, the total was 24 points.
Right.
24 points in those 5 losses. So our whole offseason theme was 24. And how are we going to overcome 24? And we had wristbands and all that made up about 24. And so everything that we talked about was more about Coastal and doing what we need to do to overcome that 24. And so our whole thought process was about that. And what I showed our team is we weren't far off. It had nothing to do with who we are. It had having to do with how we were doing things. Not believing and expecting to win and not doing the little things to do that. And so once we got them understanding that and how we could overcome those things, then you can use, hey, people think you're 5th and all that stuff. You can throw that in there. But it was more focused on Coastal Carolina and what we have to do to be the team we want to be. And so we knew, truthfully, in this building that we were going to be a lot better. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you we'd be top 10 and all that stuff. We took advantage of COVID, obviously, and obviously we're known for having fun, and I think that took the nation by storm a little bit. And so, but our group knew that we were better than what people thought.
Well, I know watching you week 1 when you went down to Kansas. I remember talking with a few fellow coaches and things and saying, man, these guys are the real deal. They're fast, they're physical, and they just play with a lot of emotion and intensity that can really carry them a long way. And you guys did that. You definitely did that.
Yeah, I think that was part of it. I think, it goes back to what we talked about earlier, having that, that brotherhood, that belief in each other. When you do that, when you do have that strong belief in the guy beside you, you want them to be successful, so you do what it takes. And one thing that I think we did all year long, no matter the circumstances, situations, our team always played hard. If you watched us, you said, man, those guys, they play hard. We do try to be physical. We try to play the game the right way. But my thing is, when you turn on the video, whether you're a fan of us or not, I want somebody to say, whoa, those guys play the game the way you're supposed to be played. And that's what we were proud of as a staff this past year.
You're absolutely right, Coach. One of my first questions I've got for you, your offense is unique. It's a spread option. You'll do some things. You'll do the triple option and read option things. But it's almost like you took the spread option and mixed it with an old school kind of style football. Like a 3 yards in a cloud of dust kind of thing. And it kind of plays what you just said is, we're going to be very physical with you. We're also going to stretch the field when we need to, but we're going to run the ball at you. We're going to run it down your throat, and, it's up to you to stop it. My question is, where did that come from? Is that something that you pulled away from other coaches, bits and pieces, or did somebody, really put you onto that style?
Well, we all steal from each other, right? So
absolutely, yeah.
Nobody invented anything. I played in it a little bit in college. We had a coach that tried to do a little bit of that, and so I always had it in the back of my mind. But I mean, truth be told, it was born really out of necessity. And the first head job I had was a Division II school, North Greenville, and we had 17 total scholarships. So if I was going to go try to be a spread team there and do this or that, it wouldn't have worked. We wouldn't have won. The only statistic I care about is winning.
Absolutely.
I'm going to do what it takes to win. And, a lot of people want to throw the ball around, score a lot of points. They care less about what the defense does. I'm not that way. And so we want to win games. And so remembering it from college days, I went and visited Wofford. Wofford was doing some option stuff out of the gun, but they don't, obviously don't throw the ball. I wanted to still try to do some of the spread and throw it, but try to be a physical run game and give my guys a chance, and up front. And so we started doing it there and developing it from there. Every year you add or you take away, and then, with the emergence of the RPOs and all the different stuff. So you try to change as much as you can. But our core philosophy is we're going to try to run the football from an option principle and be physical from that standpoint, and then try to get down the field on you from a throwing standpoint. And I never wanted to be the team where you could run it, but when you need to throw, you couldn't do it. So I wanted to, hopefully we could do a little bit of both. And we've been building it. And obviously last year was a tremendous year. Quarterback had a little bit to do with that too.
Yeah. Actually, that was one of my next questions. Was Grayson McCall, freshman, outstanding freshman, came in and really impressed. I think everybody. Definitely impressed me. And he led the entire Sun Belt in passing yards and passing touchdowns, and finished 12th for rushing. How much pressure does it take off of you and your staff just to know you have a young man like that's able to understand the offense and lead the group and just perform at a high level? How important is that?
Well, I can say this from calling plays. If you got a guy back there you trust, it makes it a lot easier because you send a bad call in there and he can make it a good one. When you don't have a guy back there you can trust, it's hard because you're always trying to be in the perfect play, right? And so you're so worried about, I'd like to call this, but what if he doesn't do a good job? And so you play the game timid, and you can't play the game timid. So that thing that he was allowed us to do last year is we could open it up because there was a trust factor. You mentioned all those statistics there, but for a young person, he's got really great intangibles from a leadership standpoint. He loves football, but he treats his teammates the right way, and they run through walls for him. And then the thing that he does, I think, is better than anybody been around. His manipulation of the pocket for a young person is unbelievable. And so there's things that should be dead to rights, and he can just make a subtle move here, subtle move there, and make a good play out of it. And so, and he's just scratching the surface, with it. That's what, he obviously had a great year. And sometimes you look at it, there might be nowhere to go but down, from the year that he had. But he's a tremendous player, but even from a leadership and tangible quality, he's got all those things you want that you can't coach.
He just seems tough as nails too. There were a couple plays I saw him, just take some big shots, and he still either gets the ball off or completes the pass downfield, or does something and pops right back up and ready to go again.
He does have that intangible. He has some toughness. I mean, most people don't realize he played our bowl game with a broke thumb. He broke his thumb. He broke our thumb in the Troy game in the second quarter, and so he's playing probably 60% of that game, and ended up playing. He didn't play his best in that game, but he played pretty good, obviously. Playing with, like I said, a broke thumb and all those things, and so he does have a toughness to him, and that's the thing most people don't realize about him. When this COVID hit, he missed all of the off-season lifting from a freshman standpoint, right? He's here in the fall, ready to go the spring, and we do spring early here. So we had our spring practice, but then we do our lifting routine after that, and that's what all got canceled. So he looks like right now, from his body standpoint, he looks like he's going to Bristol for the NASCAR race. That's what he looks like right now.
Well, that mullet, not many quarterbacks that good. Yeah, not many quarterbacks that good can pull off a mullet like that. And I'm surprised he hasn't got a nickname yet with that, Mighty Mullet or something like that.
Yeah. I'm sure it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, you got a brother, John, that coaches in East Tennessee, and coaches with David Gillum. And those guys actually got their start at our local high school at Scott High, and then got the job at Anderson County and moved. My question to you is, when you guys talk, you and Davey, or you and your brother John, you guys talk? Is it mainly football, or is it a little bit of, hey, let's get away from football and just talk about our lives or whatever, or is it a little bit mixture of both? And how much do you guys bounce ideas off each other?
Well, Jonathan is one. He's the best coach in the whole. My father was a coach. My mom is a coach, but Jonathan's the best coach in the whole family. He's tremendous, very sharp.
He is.
And so we'll talk some football. We'll talk whether it's recruiting, whether it's just things that he's doing, whether things we're doing. But a lot of the time, it's really more so just sort of what's going on, and
Right.
and what's going on in East Tennessee, obviously up that way. And then, we're big into movie quotes. So we talk a lot into movie quotes because we love, especially 80s movies.
Right.
We have a lot of, we'll have a lot of talks from that standpoint, but very proud of him and what he's doing there from a defensive standpoint. Obviously Coach Gillum as well. They're very consistent there at the high school with some really good teams and good players. And it's I always enjoy, when I get a chance to get back up there, to go up there and work out on campus a little bit to see, because last time I played there in '94, so it's amazing to see all the different things that have happened there.
Although Anderson County's got it going on, they've got a great facility, and I got two younger brothers. I was out of high school when they started, but my brothers Stephen and William was one of their first teams. William was the first quarterback Davey had in high school. And then my brother Stephen played middle linebacker for your brother John. And they, every time I see them, they're always asking about, hey, how are they doing? And when I heard about you getting real big, I thought, hey, and so kind of made that connection with you. But I always thought it was kind of cool. Give us your best '80s quote. You just mentioned, give us your best '80s movie quote and your favorite movie.
Which one? Give me a movie. You got me. There's so many. I mean, I can go Caddyshack.
I'll tell you what.
Oh, Caddyshack.
I got a different movie, but go ahead, Caddyshack.
Well, no, what's your other one? Give me the other one first.
Major League.
Major League. Oh, gosh.
Keith's favorite.
Well, I can't cuss on here, so one of my favorite, Willie Mays Hayes wakes up and he goes, I've been cut already? I like that one. I like, let's see, what's the other one for Major League that, forget about Dorn because he's only high priced. I like and then I like when he's peeing on his contract when he says, it says here I can't do any calisthenics around and Lou Brown, opens up and just pisses on it. I think that's great. And then when they call Lou Brown, he goes, I got to get the guy on the line for White Walls. I'll call you later about you're asking to be a major league manager. And Caddyshack, I think one of my there's a bunch of them there from Bill Murray and stuff, but I like when Bill Murray's talking with Chevy Chase, and I think they're probably high during it. He goes, "You got a pool over there?" He goes, "I do have a pool, but I got a pond. It'd probably be best for you." And I really like that quote, and I really like when Dangerfield says, "Oh, you get a free bowl of soup with this hat," and he goes, "Oh, it looks good on you." So those are just a couple there. I could go through probably the whole movies.
Right.
They got a lot of good ones there we could go through, but you don't have enough time on this right now.
No, we don't. We actually have something at the end of our podcast for you. It's what we call our 5 and 5 segment, and we did one a couple weeks ago where it was our top sports movies of all time. And number one for me was Major League.
That'd have been a good one to do with him.
Major League's a great one. Major League's great.
A couple of my favorite quotes out of that. I'm just going to just quick talk with you, but it's ball 4, ball 8. Yeah. And Vaughn has walked the bases on 12 straight pitches. And then and I use this one probably weekly, is just a bit outside.
Yeah. Tried the corner and missed.
Exactly. Yeah. So I love that movie. But anyways, I'm going to let Jesse go ahead and take over for just a few minutes.
Coach, you were scheduled to play Liberty on December 5th, which was a circled game for a lot of people. Everybody was eyeing that game. But unfortunately, they had to cancel that. Liberty had some COVID issues and things. So rather than take the bye week, you guys ended up agreeing with a matchup with undefeated BYU. And I believe that game was announced on a Thursday, so you guys had less than 3 days to prepare for that. And I may be wrong on my information there, but can you tell us a little bit about what that week was like, where the BYU game, like how it got started, and how that agreement got worked out, and and what did that game mean for your program? Because that was by far one of the best games I watched all year in regular season.
We'd started hearing some rumors about Liberty during the week that they had some COVID. Basically, basically they were worried about their quarterback. Their quarterback had COVID. The rest of the team had COVID. If and so because he's really really good. Obviously, you saw in the bowl game there. He's a great player. And so we started hearing rumors that they were going to pull the plug. And so Thursday morning, 9 a.m. is when we found out for sure, hey, they're pulling the plug, but BYU's lined up. So we found out Thursday morning from a BYU standpoint. So you have basically we played at 5 o'clock Saturday, so you had roughly a little bit more than 48 hours there to try to get ready for it and try to prepare. Game day was here as well, and so but having a chance of both being undefeated ended up being on ESPN2 or whatever it may be, and just came down obviously the last play of the game right there, 1 yard, like Kevin Dyson Tennessee Titan thing there, and so just an unbelievable game. Whoever you were a fan, whether you were a fan or not, from a college football standpoint, it was a phenomenal game.
Right.
And the hardest challenge is when you find out that short amount of time, it's necessarily not about BYU. It's more so, hey, what do we do well? And let's see if what we do well matches up against them, basically. And what I was most proud of is I think we ended up rushing for 280 yards, our little mighty mites up front, and just held the ball and tried to do what we could to win the game. And just unbelievable for us because of game day. A lot of people finding that out. And then BYU had obviously, hey, he's a potential Heisman guy. They're going undefeated. So a lot of people wanted to watch it from that standpoint, both of us being 9-0 or 10-0, whatever it was at that time frame. And the win there just, I think, really from a national perspective, just put us on so many more people's radars and Chanticleers are for real, so to speak. And so I think we're still probably reaping the benefits of that.
Absolutely. You guys actually, BYU was one of the hottest offenses in the country at that time. And you all actually ended up holding Zach Wilson to the lowest amount of passing yards he had all season at 240, and which was super impressive. And a lot of places kind of pegged that like a David versus Goliath matchup, and you all really just stood tall and proved to everybody that Coastal Carolina football is the real deal. And it was a super exciting ball game, and the finish, like you mentioned, the last play there, it was super exciting to watch.
Yeah, one of those ones you look back on and just, hey, no matter what, from a program standpoint, like that was just a great one to be a part of. And Zach's really good. I think our defense did a great job there.
Absolutely.
I think they thought, hey, they're better than us a little bit, so they tried some things maybe that they normally work versus some other teams, and for what reason it didn't work against our guys. And again, you start playing keep away there a little bit too. I think we had the ball like 40 minutes. So you limit the opportunities. We only threw the ball 10 times that game.
Wow.
Which we had the top. I mean, thinking we had the league in one game, you only threw the ball 10 times. So that tells you some stuff, or maybe a little bit more than 10. But I think maybe it was like 10 to 12 or something like from that nature. And so again, you got to find a way to win. And that was one that when your career is all said and done, that's when you always remember.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, like you just said, as a college football fan, I'm not a fan of Coastal Carolina. I'm a fan of you and just, some of your story and you're a fan of Zach Wilson just as a player, but just as a college football fan with nothing invested. That was the best college football game last year, bar none. You include the national playoffs and all that. I thought the Coastal Carolina BYU game number one, and I don't think it's even a close second.
Oh yeah.
But my question, and you kind of touched on it with Zach Wilson. You get 48 hours, 49 hours to prepare for a guy that's going to eventually be drafted number 2 overall in the NFL draft. How was your defense? Were they worried, or was it more of, hey, we're just going to do what we do and get after him and see what the outcome is? Because obviously Zach Wilson is a great talent.
Well, obviously they knew he was really good, but also, what our defensive player or coaches thought was they hadn't really went up against some defensive like our guys, as far as we had some guys that rushed the quarterback a little bit. And everybody played him passive because of who he was. And we made the decision we're going to be aggressive and try to get after him and blitz him and do certain things. So we did a lot of different – we hit him more than anybody. Nobody really hit him. Obviously, we had that little brouhaha right there before halftime too, with that.
I've seen that on YouTube.
That I still get emails about. But anyway, so
It's football.
That I think our decision was, hey, let's see if he can make plays, hopefully from his back. As far as just let's try to just get after him as much as we can. And if we give up a big play, we'll give up a big play. But what we were able to do is, I think we surprised them a little bit with our speed and athleticism, and they weren't able just to knock us off the ball, right? And so we made them earn some things, and then again us limiting the ball and trying to limit his opportunities. That was the difference. Now we're all holding our breath that last drive because he made a couple throws there. I mean, he went 80. I think they were supposed to go 88. He went 87 in like 35 seconds or whatever it was.
Right. He's a great player, and you guys did a good job of him, for the biggest part of the game. And like you said, you got after him. And, like you talk about that brouhaha or the scrum there before halftime. All that to me was a kid that was, and not just a kid, but a team that's playing hard and just playing, just to get after him.
Intense.
And an intensity. And I don't think that he or BYU was ready for it. And you guys did a wonderful job, did a great job there, and it worked out well for you. It really did. Because, like you said, nobody really played him that way. They played him as a future NFL draft. Somebody's going to be on draft day getting his name called. And so everybody kind of played timid of him, whatever. And you guys was like, no, like you said, if we give a big play or we get burnt, we get burnt. But, we're going to give it everything we got. And you've seen that, and it was a really good thing to see.
I got the 5 for 5. If you have anything else to
I got
say.
one more. Well, that's not really a question. It's a kind of an intriguing thing. You talked about your playing time at ETSU. And if I'm not mistaken, you went back and was a quarterback coach there at ETSU until they ended the program in
2003. I think.
Yeah, 03, 02, something like that. What was your kind of outlook as far as being on on the staff and then into the program? What was your outlook as far as, because it's easy to get down on things? What was your outlook on coaching when they ended that program?
Well, I did. I played there. I say played. I was on the team. I didn't really play much, and so that's where my coaches got started because I was on the sideline a lot, and then they gave me the opportunity to coach. After that, so I was basically a restricted earners coach, and I coached. I think I was coaching quarterback. Or I say I helped with quarterbacks, tight ends, running backs, you name it, just about of every position, and then. Once 2003 came and they did decide to cancel it, it was a tough time. It was hard personally because you played there, you were part of that, and you sacrificed a lot of your time, sweat, blood, and tears for the university, and you couldn't understand why they're making the decision that they did, and so that was a challenging time frame, and then from a coaching standpoint, it's not like I knew anybody, or nobody knew me, so it wasn't like I was a great player. This guy. And it wasn't like there were tons of GAs. You didn't have all the different things you do now access-wise. And so I didn't know what was going on, obviously, during that time frame once they dropped it. You got to rely on your faith there. But I knew I wanted to be a coach. Obviously, my father's been a coach, and that was just something I wanted to do. And what was, unique about it as you look back is all these colleges came in to recruit our players during that time frame. And I went to Charleston Southern right as an assistant. And I was coaching running backs and recruiting coordinator, and their running back recruiting coordinator just left. And so I was helping all of them out. I was helping them get players down there or transcripts, et cetera. He said, "Hey, we got a job open." I said, "Yeah, sure. What the heck? I got nothing else to do right now." So, and that's sort of how I got to Charleston Southern, and that's how this career began.
That's pretty cool, man. One more thing, Joe Moglia. Was the head coach, obviously had some health issues, and you was on his staff too. And, he had to step away. But he's still part of the program, if I'm not mistaken. He's still in an advisory role.
He's our executive director of football.
Right.
It's an advisory role, yes.
How much day-to-day do you get to meet with him? How much is he, in your ear as far as X's and O's? And because, he was a guy that stepped away from a really good, I think it was a CEO job, and then went into coaching, and then obviously had to step down. And you got the opportunity to step up. But I figure he still probably got the drive to be a coach. So I'm kind of curious, what's your day-to-day with him? How much you talk with him about, game planning and things like that?
Not a lot. In 19, his first year he stepped down, we talked, about the game plan weekly and different things. This past year, he was basically completely away from it for the most part. I think he was still attached in 19, and then this year not near, because he's obviously got other things outside of what he's doing here. And so, but now he's somebody I do communicate with obviously a lot. If there's some things I'm struggling with, some things that, hey, I need guidance, I'll call him from that standpoint. Use his expertise, obviously, because he was highly successful in football and business. And so, but he trusts me. He obviously hired me here. He trusts me to run, the program in the way that we want to run it there, and has been a great one, a mentor, and then two, just really a friend. Somebody from a relationship standpoint that you can rely on a lot of different ways.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I think you made the right choice by giving you the job. I really do. You've done good things in the couple of years you've been there, and look forward to seeing what you've got.
Well, that's easy. That's easy to say after this past year. Nobody was saying that.
Well, I mean, even like we were talking about earlier, even with the 19 season, you're 5-7, but 5 of the losses that you had, were by a total of 24 points. So
one win was against Kansas at Kansas.
So you can say that last year this or that. Hey, Coach, you're doing a good thing. It seems to me that way, and you've got a fan in us at least. But no, I know Jesse's got our 5-5.
Yeah,
right?
Last thing, and I will say real quick, Coach, I'm a Tennessee fan, as depressing as that is. But you all got me wanting to buy some teal. I'll say that. Coastal Carolina football is one that I watch every weekend now. So I will be watching. I will be a fan. But Coach, Coach, we always end every show with a segment we call 5 and 5, and we take a category and we do a top 5 list in a 5-minute window, 5-ish. And usually we have time to
Jesse
prepare for
never
this.
stays in a 5-minute window.
Usually we have time to prepare for this, but I'm kind of putting you on the spot. Can you give us 5 coaches, past or present, that you would love the opportunity or would like the opportunity in the future to coach against?
Coach against. Okay. Bear Bryant.
Okay.
Eddie Robinson.
Oh, that's a good one.
We didn't mention him. Yeah, that's a good one.
Bill Belichick.
Yes.
Vince Lombardi.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I guess we strictly stuck
stayed
to
college,
just to
yeah,
college.
but any level.
You want me to stay in college?
No. Any level. Any level.
Well, go ahead and finish your list, and then we'll come back to college.
And then probably Bill Walsh.
Bill Walsh is a good one too. That's a good list right there.
Now, from a college standpoint, we talked about Bear Bryant, talked about Eddie Robinson, Nick Saban. I've already done that against.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that again. I got beat. Let me think through a couple more. Matt Campbell.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one.
Does a great job.
Yes.
I think that would be awesome from that standpoint. A guy that right now I think does a really phenomenal job.
I'd love to see it myself.
Bobby Bowden.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm going to say General Nealon.
That's a good one.
Oh man, you're hitting the Tennessee fan in us there. Kind of like to hear that.
Yeah.
That's some really good ones. I guess that we talked about it before. We really wasn't going to give you hours. I guess not, but we'll go ahead and give you some of ours.
I don't even. I had Bowden on there.
Yeah,
but
Bowden I think
Spurrier,
both made ours. Spurrier made his list.
Philip Fulmer.
Was anybody else that was different from his?
I don't
Because I think
so.
Saban was on his list as well.
Yeah.
I think the only one different on mine was Joe Paterno.
That's a good one.
So that's a good one too.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome to if you just go by maybe some decades. You got Bud Wilkinson in Oklahoma,
Absolutely.
like then in the in the 50s you had what guys at Notre Dame. Was it wasn't Parsegian who was before Parsegian, and then you get in the 60s with Texas. And the coach there, what's his name? Just skipped my mind. The stadium's named after him.
Oh man, you're.
You know what I'm talking about? What's his name?
I know who you're talking about, but I'm in the same boat you are. It's just leaving me.
Royal, Daryl K. Royal.
Yeah.
And then you get into some of those. It'd be cool, all those different decades to great coaches throughout that time frame, just to have that opportunity, and all the different things that they did. It's pretty cool.
Who was the Notre Dame coach that was there in the 90s and then ended up at South Carolina in the early 2000s? Holtz,
Yeah,
Lou Holtz.
Yeah, Lou Holtz.
That's a legendary
That'd be
coach.
another good one. But I guess that's it
That's
for
it.
us, Coach. We really do appreciate you coming on,
Absolutely.
spending 30, 45 minutes with us, however long it's been. I've kind of lost
Thanks.
track of the time, but it's been a great time talking to you. Really do appreciate you, and good luck in the future.
I appreciate y'all having me on very much. Hopefully get a chance to do it again sometime.
Hey, we would really like that, man.
Yeah.
We'll definitely. I'll tell you what. We'll wait till you get done with this next season, because I know you're getting ready to hit the recruiting trail, and you got your season ahead. But you might be seeing an email from us in January, February-ish, and schedule this
Or
again.
a preseason show might be kind of cool. Preseason episode.
If he's got time, I know that's
Yeah,
a busy
you
time.
guys are about the only people that do this that understand my language, so that's a good thing.
Well, that's the thing. Both of us have spent time coaching, and when I say coaching, it's been middle school football. It's nothing at your level, but kind of understand the time and the preparation and all that. So I don't want to take away from you and your team. So we'll definitely be emailing, and would love to have you back on at some point in the future. So
Absolutely.
All right, appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
you.